Hunting is in my family's blood, and for my father Greg and I, it's our whole way of life. This is our playground and these are our adventures.
Oh yeah, baby.
Paddle hard, go right.
Oh, look at that chamois. Is that the big buck? Which one is it? He's going ballistic.
Oh, what's that?
14-inch bull.
This is NZ Hunter Adventures. This week we're making our annual pilgrimage south to Te Anau to hunt in New Zealand's largest and most remote national park, Fiordland, home to the mighty New Zealand Wapiti deer.
The story of the Wapiti in New Zealand has been a real debacle from start to finish. After their liberation in 1905 at the head of George Sound, the herd produced some magnificent world-class trophies until they were declared as a pest in 1934. Since then, they've been caught in a struggle between the rabid anti-deer brigade, those who want to rape the resource for money, and those who value big game animals for their recreational value. Wapiti are seen as the pinnacle New Zealand hunting experience by big game hunters, and for this reason they seem to have attracted more of the anti-deer attention than other species also in national parks. They have been subject to some ridiculous departmental decisions over the years, and their numbers have been depleted by government colours, skin and meat hunters, helicopters, both legitimate and poaching, and in a lot of cases stupidly leaving the infiltrating red deer behind to replace them. One of the biggest governmental debacles of the day was in the 1980s when the anti-Wapiti Fiordland National Park Board decided to reintroduce takahe back into the national park. With the whole 12,500 square kilometres to choose from, they chose the Edith Saddle, right smack in the middle of the Wapiti area. They announced they wanted the Wapiti removed, and the government set about capturing them, promising the hunters they'd re-release them in another area, despite the hunters telling them that part of what's special about the Wapiti hunting experience is the magnificent country they live in. The captured crown herd was kept on land court farms, and the best animals mysteriously ended up on private deer farms all over the country, despite the fact they were public property. The takahe released were never seen again, the reintroduction project was scrapped, and the whole shambles was a sad indictment on the government and the Fiordland National Park Board of the day. Then in 1995, just to rub salt into the wound, the government allowed unlimited helicopter operators into the Wapiti area, and the Wapiti entered another dark era, where by the year 2000, the herd was in its poorest shape ever, with a lot of the few remaining Wapiti types getting the one-way ride out under a venison chopper. The saviour came in 2001 when the venison price dropped with the scare of poison residues in deer carcasses, and the whole wild venison industry was shut down overnight. This created the opportunity for the Fiordland Wapiti Foundation to work with the Department of Conservation to take over management of the area. Funded by the Wapiti hunters themselves, the FWF has been culling around 1,000 reds, hybrids and poor quality Wapiti a year to look after both the vegetation and biodiversity issues in the area, and also ensuring that those Wapiti left have enough feed to grow quality heads. It's a win-win situation. DOC gets what it wants, the user pays, hunters get what they want, and all at no cost to the taxpayer, and the size of the trophies has been steadily increasing. Finally, some common sense for the greatest game animal herd in the country in what is truly a unique and really special area.
It's a bit high, that can't be him. Oh, he's starting to... must be him.
Due to its isolation, the most effective way into our block this year was by helicopter, and it looked like we were in safe hands with one of New Zealand's most experienced pilots steering the ship on the way in.
How you doing, Willie? Nice to meet you, Richard. How you doing? Good, good.
Sorry about the late arrival. Oh, well, at least it's not raining, is it?
Oh, exactly.
Wasting good fine weather. Yeah. Righto, grab your gear, we'll get loaded
Yeah,
and get you
cool.
in there.
We usually begin our Fiordland adventures with a boat ride across Lake Te Anau, which lets us slowly soak up the grandeur of the hills. So it was definitely a different feeling to be lifting off in a big whirlybird beelining to our block.
You landing on the tops there, Willie, do you? Tops just above the sound on the tree right there. Right, okay. Anywhere you've landed there much before? I'm sure there is, but... Oh, there's plenty of places there to land, yeah. Where are you going to be for your pickup? Don't know, we've got a sat phone, depends on how far we get. Might get right round towards... Just give us a shout with some coordinates. Yep, will do. Oh, look at this, eh? Pretty good. I've got a broken big toe at the moment, Richard, so... How'd you achieve that? Oh, you don't want to know about it. It wasn't even, honestly. I tripped over the bloody front doorstep, the whole thing. You weren't even in the bush. No, I wasn't even in the bush. We're coming into our block now, which is the Whitewater block. And it's outside the wilderness area, so we're flying in the helicopter. We've drawn out the first period. It's 10 days, but because we're running late, we're only going to get the last 6 days. Should have a few fine days, then we're expecting a bit of a typical Fiordland storm to come through, and then maybe another few fine days at the end of that trip, so who knows, but we're pretty excited. Look at this, blue sky on the west coast of Fiordland. Some rough old chopper pilot putting us in. I agree with that. We're not there yet. I can land you in that saddle, or I can land you on this terrace down here. Those terraces certainly look pretty easy for you, so that'll do, we can always shift. Here, or do you want to have behind us here somewhere? Anywhere here will do. Hey guys, just don't go up that bank out on your left there. But here, we'll just have to go straight round the front.
A magnificent 30-minute flight through some of New Zealand's best scenery on offer had us quickly in our block, unloading gear and saying goodbye to the last form of civilization we'd be seeing for a while. Here we are, the Whitewater block, our home for the next 7 days.
Man, that was a Rolls Royce way to get from the flats by the Fiordland Road 4,000 feet straight up into the Fiordland tops. I must admit my broken big toe thought that ride was just neat.
We've got a pretty good forecast, a couple of days of fine weather to start, and then maybe a storm front, was it, from the northwest coming through, and then a couple more fine days. So,
and then finish on another northwest storm that might be even bigger. So.
Anyway, we're going to try find a campsite and then start looking for a Wapiti bull. We were going to be hard pressed to top our previous year's bugle, as for us it was the perfect Fiordland Wapiti adventure. Seeing plenty of young animals up close, spotting a magnificent bull that in hindsight we probably should have had a second look at. While the cream on the cake was an encounter with a bugling Wapiti bull. Up in the head basins where they belong. And although we never pulled the trigger, the experience alone was once in a lifetime. This is NZ Hunter Adventures. Looks like a pretty ideal campsite. Flat, a little bit wet, but we'll get away with it the next couple of days because it's no rain forecast. We're struggling to find flat spots that are also dry on this face here, so what do we have to do? What do you think about this? A little bit damp, but raining water just down there.
I mean, we're certainly easy camp here tonight, particularly if we're going to hunt that way. I think what we'll do is go back and have a look at the map.
Yeah, so we're about halfway along that face, just about there. So that is the last knob on the top. that one up there, so we've only got to get to there, and we're looking at everything we can see in that direction.
Yeah.
That's that really big tributary. It's got a big flat basin in the head of it that's going to be, you know,
Worth a look.
primo Wap country, I would have thought. So in which case, yeah, we might as well just camp here for tonight. Spend the tonight and the morning running around these tops.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow lunchtime we'll pack up and head over and get over there. We'll need to get at the head of that ridge above there.
Alright, camp set up. We're just going to head west along the ridge and hopefully get into some country that the chopper didn't disturb. We heard a couple of bugles.
Oh, have you?
What? A couple of distant bugles down in there.
I've been nothing. I've been on deaf.
And old. That's a good Wapiti bugle. We've come about 30 minutes along the ridge. We've got a great look over this bush basin. And there's been some good bugles, about 3 bulls, different bulls down in here, so we're just going to glass, work the country and hopefully pick them up on a slip or a bit of open country.
Right, now let's find some. Time for the first bugle of the trip. We've heard a few obviously down in the basin, but we've heard a few cracks. There's one right in under us, right in under the bluffs here. So I'm just going to throw a bit of a bugle back round to the left, because there's a nice little saddle with a few tarns, and just maybe encourage them to walk out that way where we can get a look at them. There's one. Oh, here's a bull, here's a bull. Oh, beautiful colour.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful colour, look at him. Big creamy bugger. You see him with the naked eye now, look, he's just come out above the bush there. See him over there?
Yeah, got him.
Bit of antler on him.
Better get the spotter on him.
You can see antler through the binos, so there's a bit of something there. First Wapiti bull for the trip. Terrible visibility down there. There's a bit of antler. Yeah, he's gone out of sight. Oh, I think he was a reasonable 10. He didn't have 3 on each top, he had 2 on each top. It looked like he had all those bottom tines. Bit of length to him, a little narrow, nice colour though, lovely colour.
Well, we heard a few bugles tonight, which was pretty exciting. Saw one bull. Was it near a 10, did you say, Dad?
Yeah, only 2 on each top, but I think he had all those bottom tines, so it makes it a 10.
Anyway, it's getting cold, it's dark, so let's go back to camp.
Come back in the morning with a bit of daylight.
It was encouraging to encounter some good bugling action on the first evening of our trip, and we were in good spirits heading back to camp for some dinner.
I'm the guinea pig, Dad said. He's not brave enough to try any new flavours. So I'm really going for it. I'm having Mexican chicken, kidney beans, a few chippies. Treating myself like one in Wapiti country.
Had a few showers of rain on the tent overnight. You can see the cloud bases come right down. That's the forerunner of what's coming probably tomorrow. Anyway, we're going to shoot round over here into this next big tributary and have a good look in there this morning, and then we're going to probably cut back up over the top and go and check out last night's bulls.
That's the plan. Oh, there's one, Dad. Just down below the fog line. See that knob in the fog?
Yeah.
Come kind of halfway across the face, and there's a spur running down, and she's just on the top of that spur.
She's quite high up then. Surely there's got to be a bull in this valley somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard him before actually.
Where is it though?
I think he's just round that shoulder, isn't he? It's not coming through clear enough.
We've seen that one Wapiti cow and then a distant half-hearted roar, but now we're going to shoot back and check out those good bugles we heard last night.
They sound like they had a bit better blood in them.
Alright, we've clambered back around here above Bull Valley. We've nicknamed it Bull Valley. It's chilled right down. Dad's going to give a bugle and see if he can spark them up again.
Sounds good, doesn't he? And here's the other one. Yeah, there's two really nice blooded animals down there. As opposed to all our other deer species, Wapiti bugle instead of roaring. So you'll be probably used to hearing a red roar. This is the mating call of the Wapiti bull, a bugle. And the more high-pitched and knife-edged it is, it generally tells you it's better blood because there's been red deer move through this area and there's crossbreeding. And so we're trying to find the most purebred Wapiti bull with the biggest set of antlers on him. So the higher pitch the bugle, the more chance there is he's a nice Wapiti type. Jeez, I cracked up.
How many bulls is there? That's magic. We're hoping to get a look at these bulls without having to drop down in there because there's still a heap of country we want to see further east.
Well, there's lots of bugling down in Bull Valley, but none of them showed themselves. And because they're so much further down below us, we don't want to lose all our altitude to go down and hunt those now. When we've got all this high country, all these tops along here we want to have a look at, and some more valleys to the east, and we need the visibility. We need this weather with the cloud base up a bit higher to do this, whereas we can drop in and do that later on when the weather comes in on us a bit more. We've seen 4 Wapiti at the head of this valley over here too, 2 young bulls and a cow and calf, but nothing of interest, so back to camp for lunch, pack up, head east.
It was a tough decision turning our backs on the bulls down below in the bush, but we were convinced that staying high and exploring the tops while the weather lasted would pay dividends in the long run. But man, were they rubbing our noses in it. A good bit of entertainment over lunch. We're just packing 6 days worth of gear to head along the ridge, and if you're wondering what will be going in our packs, the bulk of it is clothing and sleeping gear, free-dried meals for dinner, and then lunch, breakfast, cooking gear, and the tent. That'll be in my pack, and then the remainder of the hunting gear, spotting scope, binos, rifle, rope, that'll be in Dad's pack. So that's what's going in the packs.
It's lunch packed up, 6 days worth of food and gear, and we're heading east along the ridge to check out some more of these head basins. We've got those. We've got Bull Valley to come back to if we don't find anything along there, but we've got to go this way first. We've got a front coming in tomorrow night, so we've got half a day tomorrow, really, tomorrow morning to check out some of this country. Then we'll ride out a front, and we get one more fine day, and then the next front comes in. Who knows where we'll be.
This is NZ Hunter Adventures. Half an hour along the ridge from camp, we'd finally found some animals up above the bushline.
Nice cow and calf up on the face here. They wouldn't have seen that many humans, so I think they're trying to figure out what exactly we are. We're looking for their sugar daddy though. They're safe from us.
So Dad's heading all the way back to our gear dump to pick up gas bottles because we forgot to bring them, and I'm going to carry on round to the ridge, have a look around the corner. It's now 8 PM. Dad's caught us back up with some gas bottles, and this is going to be camp for the night. Water right here, nice and flat. Hopefully some shelter from the storm we're anticipating. And fingers crossed, it'll be clear in the morning and there'll be bulls bugling down that side. That's the plan, isn't it?
It's the morning of day 3 and the weather's coming overnight just as was forecast.
Beautiful.
And it's forecast to get even worse as the day goes on, quite heavy rain this afternoon. So we're going to try and make use of this slightly more intermittent weather this morning and drop low and see if we can get in under the cloud and get a look at that bugler we heard down there last night. That's the plan.
We found our bugler from last night. He's just in that face to the left of that big slip, but there's a lovely coloured young bull down here on this little close slip. Have a look. A nice young bull, probably only 2 or 3 years old, but he's good colour. He's the right species, Wapiti. Yeah, so there's 3 bulls in the valley now. There's the young one you've already seen. There's the one we heard last night and he's bugled a bit this morning, but we haven't seen him yet. And there's another one on the toe of that little spur over there somewhere.
There's enough slips and clear patches that we should get a look at them eventually if the rain holds off.
It's important in these really wet fiordland conditions to keep the bore of your barrel dry, because if you've got a wet bore, your first shot won't go where you think it's going to go. So a simple way to keep the water from going in the muzzle is tape it up with insulation or electrical tape, and that doesn't affect the shot at all. The air pressure in front of the bullet will just blow that tape off before the bullet comes out. It does not affect where that shot goes at all if that's taped up. So you tape that end up with electrical tape, that stops water getting in there. But it's only half the story, because everybody walks around with a gun like that, and water lands on the bolt, runs down the bolt, and fills the chamber up and can fill the whole barrel up from this end, particularly if it's taped at that end. So you've got to stop the water getting in here. So what we do is we keep a tight fired empty case in the chamber. We put that in at the start of the trip, and that tight case, fired case, stays in that chamber for the whole trip in there, and that seals it at this end, tape at that end, then no water can get in. When you're going to fire a shot anyway, you're going to be working the bolt to work in a live cartridge out of the magazine, and then your fired case comes out. So it doesn't affect you or slow you down at all, but it just seals both ends of the barrel so you don't get water in the bore. And that's our tip for hunting in fiordland in this sort of weather.
Rain's really set in now and we've lost all visibility. So we're going to cut and run, head back to camp, and rest up for the afternoon.
Yeah, these bulls won't be going anywhere. They're tucked up in this hanging valley here. There's no way out of there easily, so they'll be here when the weather comes all right tomorrow.
Let's go. We're back in the tent now. The first job is putting the clothesline up. Oh, tent's got me over there.
We're batting down the hatches for the rest of the afternoon and the evening now. It's pouring with rain out there. We've got water flowing in under the tent. I've tried to dig the best drainage channels we can, but we can't stop it coming at that end.
The remainder of the day was spent riding out the rain in the tent, and all we could do was rest up and hope it would be clear when we woke in the morning. Thankfully the rain was gone by daylight, but some wafty cloud ruined visibility and kept us and our visitor camp-bound first thing.
It's finally clear this morning. We spotted a bull way across 2,000 metres or so on Expedition Peak. Dad's just having a look at him through the spotter, but young one you thought, didn't you, Dad?
Yeah. Typical long, narrow young one. I think he's only an 8. Posing there nicely for us at the moment.
It was good to see our first bull up in the open country, but he would have to wait for now, as our attention was focused on laying eyes on the bull in the valley below camp.
We're new men this morning, fine weather, our bull's still bugling down in the valley below, so we're going to head round up high and try to get a lock in on him. Dad's gone round to the right on a knob and he can hear 2 buglers. We just can't quite get a lock in. They're in under us somewhere. So hopefully if we go around another 100 metres to that knob, we should be able to lock back in. Copy, copy.
What can you see from there?
I can see the base of the slip right below you, but I just lose the rocky gutter. Lose a bit of that, but I can see most of it.
Alright, let's give some bugles and see if we can rack these boys up, see if we can spot them.
Roger that. This is what it's all about. Exciting stuff. We've got this bull here, bugling. We've got no idea how good his antlers are. We're just waiting him out.
He's right there somewhere. He just needs to walk around a little bit. There's plenty of openings. If he just moves a bit, we'll see him sooner or later.
This is NZ Hunter Adventures.
And there he is, where he's been since we got here at 11 o'clock this morning. It's now 8:15 and he hasn't moved. From 11 o'clock till 8:15.
We didn't read about it.
So we've given up for today. We're heading back to camp. We'll be back here at Sparrow's Fart tomorrow morning. He's got to move sooner or later. The minute he moves 30 yards, we're going to see him. It's not worth trying to drop in there. He's bugling well now. Drop in there and spook him. We'll just wait till we see him.
Dad's managed to toss me out of my sleeping bag well before dawn this morning, and we're back on the job as the sun's coming up.
And there's bugles below us. So let's get to work and see what we got.
Both bulls are here. Just a matter of spotting them again. I've spotted the bull. Just get out of one of these far clearings right in the middle of the valley.
You really see him going across?
Yeah.
What is he?
Give him a bugle.
Give a bugle. Give me the bugle. Gotta stop him there. Oh shit. He's just gone across. He was a good-blooded animal, like a really nice looking wop type. Nice dark points on him, a nice cream body. Let me get the rifle set up. Because if it's that bull we're trying to shoot, we aren't going to get long on such tiny holes down there. Muzzle brake to reduce the recoil. On this big cartridge you need it, and a bipod helps us to get a steady rest in case we have to take a long shot. Now we need is a bull, a shootable bull that shows himself.
There he is. He's
Where, Willie?
come 100 metres to the right and see there's another big grassy clearing with a little puddle of water. There he is there, standing in it.
How far to the right?
100 metres to the right and see there's another big grassy clearing with a little puddle of water.
Oh yeah, I got him. Yeah. Okay. Don't have to panic, no trophy. Big 8-pointer. He's a big 8-pointer. My first glimpse of him going away was right, he's got no tops. Oh, that's a relief. If we'd had 2 days of this and not seen him, that would have been, but now at least we've seen him, so it means our days haven't been wasted.
Oh, there's a wop cow to the right of the big dead tree. Hopefully the other bull follows her out. There he is.
Where?
Right by the cow. To the right of the big dead tree, Dad. Are you on him?
Yep. God, he's a scrubber. He's another big 8. Actually, we're sure they haven't swapped places. That looks more like the other one. Oh, where's he off to?
Chasing the cow.
2 days later, we've seen both bulls, we've evaluated both of them, got some footage of both of them, and they're both scrubbers, both 8-pointers.
So the hunt continues. It's good to tick off this valley now. We'll go find some fresh country and hopefully some fresh animals.
They probably do this every morning, these two bulls. Come down and have a walk around, bugle at each other, and then by the time we've been getting here, they've retired back up the faces. This morning we actually got here in time to catch them at their antics.
Copy, copy.
Roger. What's going on?
We can see a bull down there. I've just spotted him.
Oh, do you need to spot her?
They say all good things come in threes, but I'm not entirely convinced. As on the way back to camp, I spotted our third bull for the day, and yep, he was another scrubber, making it 3 for the morning. So back to camp we climbed, feeling satisfied about ticking off the valley, but a bit dismayed about the trophy quality of the heads.
We just got back to camp, dumped the gear. I gave one bugle out here, and next month we've got two going really well down in this valley here. So I dropped down here to have a bit of a look, and then looked over there. There's a nice young bull on that face just over there. So lunch destination's just been changed. It's no longer up at camp. We're down here. See if we can get a look at these two down here.
Hopefully we'll break the theme of scrubbers.
Whitewater scrubbers.
This young bull would only be 2 years old and won't reach his full trophy potential until around 8 years of age, so he's got a few more ballots to go before he should be on the radar of any hunter.
Didn't seem too worried.
Nah, lifted his head and that was about it. We got down here and the two bulls we dropped in to get a look at have gone round the corner of the toe of that ridge now, so. And unfortunately we've dialed up the forecast and it's looking like poo. It's going to come in tonight with quite a bit of rain and wind building tomorrow, and then real gale force winds and really heavy rain on Wednesday, which is our last day anyway. So our plan is bail back up to camp, pack up, do a nasty cataract over here and then down that ridge and camp down on that beautiful little saddle, that tarn saddle down there tonight. Try and get a look at these bulls and a bit of bush stalking and things mucking around tomorrow if the weather's really wet, and then try and get a chopper ride out of there.
So this is that cataracty bluff we were talking about. Bit of a drop over here. That's why Dad was carrying the rope.
So basically the length of our rope governs how many pitches we're going to have abseil down. Might be better to go off there, I think. That's not this bit, I don't tend to fall. That's it. Pretty bloody strong.
Can it take 100 kilos?
We'd been carrying one of our camp lightweight harnesses and a belay device, just in case we had to negotiate a bluff that proved too steep to safely free climb, and we were finally going to get to put the gear to use. This is NZ Hunter Adventures. It was now time to abseil, and for once I was glad there was some leatherwood around to anchor off.
Get yourself all tied in up there, so when you come down here, if you fall, you're still safe. And just remember, the more you lower your ass, the safer you'll be, because it puts the weight in against the rock face. If you try and stay too upright, your feet will just slide out from under you, so lower your ass.
No pressure, eh?
With Dad safely down, it was now time to really find out what the load capacity of that leatherwood anchor was.
Alright, you head off and go and climb that piece.
Oh, we're having fun. Nearly to the open. Well, that took a bit longer than first anticipated, but we've made it. We're up the top of the bluff. And now, what do you think? Over the hill and find a campsite in that saddle?
Get up off this shit to start with and get up on some of those tussock terraces, and then hopefully we can find our way down to the saddle with a little bit of light we got left. Let's go, baby. No time to waste.
On our way round to the saddle, the lead lenser picked up our young friend who we'd been watching only a few hours earlier.
Not a lot of spotlighters on the Fiordland tops at night. Only idiots like us.
Not quite that desperate, you know.
What we want him to do is take us on the route down to the saddle.
Okay, so where we're trying to get to is that lovely flat terrace down there. See, no lines. And we're in the middle of this leatherwood face here trying to find a way off. Willie's doing a bit of scouting down ahead of us in the dark. This is the bit we're looking at from the other side, thinking this will be the interesting bit. But it looked doable. Okay, Willie?
Yeah, looks fine.
Looks fine, there you go, that's what we wanted to hear.
I wasn't made to eat my words, and later that night saw us eventually down in the saddle and looking for a suitable campsite.
So it's just starting to rain on us now. We've got to the saddle. We found this little hollow in here, but because it's got a bank right behind us, we're going to get too much runoff off there, so we need to get the tent up off the ground. So what we're doing is we're filling the hollow in with sticks and all that sort of debris, and then we'll line the sticks with moss. There's lots of moss around here, and that gets the tent up off the ground and allow the water to run underneath us and not come through the floor. Well, it's only 10 o'clock, it's not too bad. Backcountries are cooking and they're well deserved. It ended up being a pretty big day in the end. We're all set now, so we'll just see what the weather brings tomorrow. It's supposed to be a storm. Who knows? There's two important things to consider when choosing a campsite with a Fiordland storm coming. Wind and rain, pretty obviously. We'll start off with wind. You've got the obvious prevailing wind direction, whatever the direction the storm's coming from. Generally here it's northwest. You want to be out of the main northwest. But the other thing you've got to consider is downdrafts. If you're tucked at the base of a big cliff in the shelter, in the lee of the northwest, you'll get horrendous downdrafts come over the top and come straight down. And I've seen those wreck tents more than anything else. Next is rain. Obviously stay out of any watercourses or anything, even it might be dry now, when it rains here the water just pours off, and even what looks like dry land suddenly can become a lake or a raging torrent. So stay out of any obvious watercourses. If you're anywhere near a river, look for driftwood in the trees or anything like that that gives you an indication of what the highest flood height is, and make sure you camp above that. The other thing you've got to consider is just local runoff. Runoff off your tent and runoff off lumps and hills and things like that around you. So you generally want to try and pick a higher spot where the water can run off around you. And if you don't have a higher spot, then build one like we did here, as you saw, where we built all that moss and everything like that and got us up off the ground so that any water that did run under us didn't come up into the tent. It's down about 6 inches under all that moss. Not only that, it gives you a very comfortable mattress. Those are our Fiordland camping tips.
Unfortunately, the forecast was spot on, and we woke to persistent rain. Not wanting to throw in the towel just yet, we tried to salvage a quick morning hunt by poking around in some of the handy bush nearby.
Cool to see something up close in the bush. Just a young bull though, so safe from us.
Well, we've got a very brief clearance this morning, and then it's coming in again big time for the last day of our period tomorrow. We've spoken to Southern Lakes, and Richard can only get in, basically said, either this morning or not at all. So basically we're doing a rapid chuck everything in our packs and get ready, and he should be here in about 5 minutes.
And that's the end of our Fiordland Wapiti hunting adventure for this year. Hopefully some better weather next year.
Sometimes, despite your best laid plans and efforts, factors outside of your control, such as the weather, can bring an abrupt end to any trip. And this could not be any truer than in Fiordland's mountains. It was a tough decision to call short our trip, but rather than ride out the terrible weather aimlessly in our tent, the wiser head of the team decided we should take up Hannibal's offer of a quick ride out. And hey, it wasn't all bad. We were heading further north to chase roaring red stags, so be sure to tune back in next week. A huge thank you must go out to our loyal family of sponsors. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to bring the beautiful New Zealand backcountry and the majestic animals that roam it into your living rooms every week. We rely on their products to perform out in the field, so you can be assured if we're using it, it's good gear that will stand the test of time. To keep up to date with the show, give NZ Hunter a like on Facebook. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel to gain a sneak peek at extra footage and teasers. And of course, grab a copy of the latest NZ Hunter magazine, the Bible of Hunting in New Zealand, to catch these and many more adventures.